A lot has changed actually. The biggest tip I will give if you're struggling with heartburn, it really is a lifesaver. And the baby's heart rate was actually really high. But no, like I just need to do it now and then it's done. It feels like my bone is throbbing. A knife is jabbing up your vagina. Love it. Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. So today I'm going to be doing my very last pregnancy update, my end of pregnancy update. This will be the last one before I have the baby, and then I will also update you guys after I have the baby to share my, last few days of pregnancy, my labor experience, and share my baby with you. So if you're interested in finding out how the last month of my pregnancy has been going, that super fun end of pregnancy time where we love and just enjoy every minute of it. If you can sense the sarcasm, you are correct. If you want to find out how my experience has been, then keep on watching. Hey guys, so I'm just popping in editing mode, and I wanted to do a little update as this video is later than I planned it to be. I've actually had my baby, had her on the 28th of June, so one day before my due date, and I had planned to have this video up on the Thursday, which would have been the 30th of June. So I actually didn't have time to get it edited and posted, so I apologize that this is a week late. So I actually have had the baby, but I still wanted to post this so you guys could see how my last few weeks of pregnancy were, and I will be giving you guys another update very soon, well, within a couple of months for the postpartum update. And yeah, so I will be posting some pre-recorded videos over the next couple months, then I will give you guys an update. So thanks so much, and I hope you guys enjoy. If you haven't seen any of my previous pregnancy updates, I will link the playlist down below. I've been trying to update you guys ever since I announced it, just for fun and to share this experience with you guys. I also thought it maybe would be helpful for some of you who are also pregnant or, just interested in the whole pregnancy journey. So as I do so, I am going to do my makeup as I normally have been doing. I'm going to just throw my hair back and let's get into it. If I do forget to mention what product I'm using, I'll link them all down below. But today we're going to start with primer, and that's the Danessa Myricks Balm. So as of today, I'm recording this on June 24th, which is 5 days before my due date. This is just about the closest that I could record because I am really busy with work and whatnot in the next few days to get all of my clients in before I have the baby. So I am today 39 weeks pregnant and 2 days, and a lot has changed. Actually, a lot has changed. And I've been using the What to Expect app, which I really love. It just keeps me updated on what's going on. I'm going to share both 39 and 40 weeks. So you guys kind of are up to date with what's going on in the next few days as well. So at 39 weeks, the baby is as big as a honeydew melon at about 19 to 21 inches and around 7 to 8 pounds. Of course, every baby is going to be different because some babies are born at 6 pounds. Some babies are born, shorter than 19 inches, and some, again, can be bigger. So this is just like a ballpark. 40 weeks, the baby is the size of a small pumpkin and is anywhere from 6 to 9 pounds. Again, can be a little bit different than that. Side note, I'm going in with the It Cosmetics Your Skin But Better foundation. So the baby's skin at 39 weeks has changed from a pink tinge to more opaque and skin color, and that is because a thick layer of fat has been deposited over the blood vessels, making your baby's cheeks pinchably and kissably round. So of course they're gaining weight more rapidly in these last few weeks of pregnancy. A nice cool fact is, while the baby's body isn't growing as much, his brain is, so it's already 30% bigger than it was just 4 weeks ago. So at this point, it says you'll probably feel increasingly uncomfortable as your uterus is obviously heavier. Your pelvis can feel achier as your baby bears down. Braxton Hicks are likely increasing in strength, which is a good thing since it means your body's gearing up for the big day. More of what this video is going to be about is symptoms, and that's what more has changed. I definitely have been noticing a lot going on with my body in the last like 2 weeks. Going in with the LYS bronzer, cream bronzer stick. Heartburn, I've mentioned multiple times in these videos that this pregnancy I had heartburn, which I did with my last pregnancy. So I wasn't surprised. Oh, that was super symmetrical there. Even just a few days, it's really increased in severity. So I am on like a really since probably early second trimester, I've been on a heartburn medication, which is safe for pregnancy. And it really helps. Like before I was on it, I was having heartburn probably almost every day. It was pretty severe. It started keeping me up at night, which was similar to my first pregnancy. So I kind of just like knew that there was medication available and my OB offered it to me and I was like, yup, because it really is a lifesaver. So if your doctor offers it to you, of course, do what you're comfortable with. But if you're open to taking medication, I definitely recommend it because it really makes life a lot more comfortable. I've been on this medication for a while now, the majority of my pregnancy, and it's really helped. But I found in the last week and a half, it helps. Like I don't struggle with heartburn every day. I don't struggle with it like all day. I'm not really having it too bad at night. But some days it is brutal. And this is with my heartburn medication. This is with cutting out as much caffeine as I possibly can while still being able to function. I still have a coffee from time to time, but I have actually cut out some caffeine and I'll mention why in a minute. So I'm not eating spicy, I'm barely eating caffeine, and I also have heartburn medication prescription, and I've been taking Tums when I'm actually experiencing the heartburn, and I'm still getting it sometimes. Like this is brutal heartburn. I feel like I'm doing everything I possibly can to prevent heartburn, and I'm still getting it. So it's super fun. The biggest tip I will give if you're struggling with heartburn is don't overeat, which is hard, but don't overeat and don't lay down right away, which I know seems such like common sense, but it's difficult because you're so tired, and especially like after dinner, you want to just lay down. Or if you end up having like a snack at night, just try to sit up for at least like half an hour. And I found that really helps. But there's days where it just feels like everything's like gonna come up, and not even like nausea. Sometimes it's not even that I feel like I'm going to be sick. It's just that it feels like it's literally like sitting in the back. You know what I mean? Like that acidic feeling. So that sucks, but I'm almost there. So we won't complain too much. P.S. I just applied the Tarte Shape Tape Ultra Creamy, and then I'm gonna set my face with the One Size setting powder. I mentioned nausea. I do actually have that coming back a little bit. It's definitely not as severe as it was at the beginning, as I had some morning sickness and just like overall feeling really sick at the beginning. It's not like that, but I do get these like intense moments where I just feel so sick, and I think part of that is the heartburn. I think part of that is everything is just exhausting and there's so much weight there and you're just tired and you feel blah. So heartburn and nausea is part of the reason as to why I have been cutting out caffeine. But another reason as to why is I actually went to one of my OB appointments. I believe it was 37 weeks. Yes, it was 37 weeks pregnant. I went to my OB appointment, and the baby's heart rate was actually really high, like to the point where the doctor was like, it's not. Like we waited to try to see if she'd settle down, and it just wasn't. So I actually had to go in for a non-stress test, which was the first time I've ever had to do that, aside from like, I think they did that when I was like in labor, but like I never had to do that during my pregnancy with my son. So it was kind of scary because I was like, okay, so when do I go for this? And she's like right now you need to go to the hospital. I'm like, okay. So I was like, so if her heart doesn't settle down, like what does that mean? And she's like, well, we'd, maybe do an ultrasound to see if everything's going well, but it could mean potential delivery. And I was like, I have a client in an hour. So I had to like postpone my client, go to the hospital. Everything was fine. Her heart rate was totally fine. I don't know honestly what it was. I don't know if it was caffeine that I had that day, because I did have a coffee and I had a Starbucks, which contained some caffeine. I had things that could, I guess, maybe cause her to be a little excited. So that is why I have been cutting out caffeine, just to make sure that she's okay. I have no idea if that's even the cause. It could potentially not be. It could have just been a fluky kind of thing, but I've just like started drinking caffeine-free Diet Coke because it tastes the same, so who cares? I have cut out coffee for the most part, which honestly hasn't been that big of a deal because, again, with my returning nausea and heartburn, it's like I don't always want a coffee right now, but I still drink caffeine. I'm gonna go in with my Super Shock Cheek blush by ColourPop in the shade Between the Sheets. So yeah, as I've mentioned, fatigue has been a big thing for me as of recently. It's definitely been getting worse. I feel like every day I feel, and it might not even be that like I wake up and I'm exhausted or whatnot, and I might feel fine most of the day, but then it just hits me this like overwhelming exhaustion. Now, if I get a good sleep and I really, you know, like I don't go to bed too late and my son doesn't wake up too early, which he doesn't normally wake up super early. So I usually get a decent sleep and that helps, but usually by the end of the day, I'm like, I literally can't do anything else. I cannot, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. So my husband's definitely been having to help me out a little bit more, which is, amazing. Going in with the Physicians Formula highlight in Pearl. And it's funny because I'm so exhausted, but at the same time, I'm definitely experiencing this whole like nesting thing. So if you've never heard of nesting, it's basically this urge to like get things done. So I think it's like, you know, your brain, you know, you're having a baby and you're like, I need to get, you want everything that possibly could need to get done. And you need it done. Like it's almost like, you know, I'll be tired and my husband will be like, just do it tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah, but no, like I just need to do it now and then it's done. When I go through these like spurts, I have this like energy, like I don't know where it's coming from because I'm so tired, but like I'm doing so much. Like I never stop. It's so different from my last pregnancy. I literally napped every day for like 2 to 3 hours, pretty much for the last month and a half with my son. So it's funny to see. I mean, to be fair, my life is a lot busier. You know, I'm a lot busier with work at this time in my life. I have a 4-year-old, you know, life is just busier. It's also a busier time of year that I'm pregnant. Like last time I was this pregnant in March. So what are you really doing in March? You know, especially when you don't have a child. I'd mentioned in past videos that I was having this hip pain, which I didn't have with my first pregnancy. And it is also at an all-time high, man. Now it's not like I experience it like walking or I experience it just sitting, but it's when I'm laying on my side, which is really the only way you can lay at this point of pregnancy. I've honestly gotten used to it pretty good. Like it's fine. I can sleep on my side. It's totally fine, but I'll wake up and I'll have to like flip over because my hip hurts so bad. And it's like insane how much my hip hurts. Like it feels like my bone is throbbing. And it doesn't typically last too long. Like usually if I flip over, it'll hurt for like maybe 10 minutes and then it'll kind of subside. But there have been times where I like wake up and my hip hurts all day. Like I must have like been out almost all night on my one side if I'm like really tired. This video is going to sound a lot like complaining and I don't like to be that person, but this is just the real and what's actually going on. So I apologize if it sounds like I'm just complaining this whole video. Oh yeah, hip pain and a little bit of insomnia. So I don't know if you could consider this, I guess kind of insomnia. So I really can't complain too much. I typically sleep pretty good, especially because I've been pushing myself so much. I'm so tired that it's helping me sleep at night, which is kind of good. But there are nights when I, you know, have to wake up and I have to pee, or you just, you know, sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night and you roll over, or like my hip hurts, so I have to roll over. I kind of learned that if I don't, like, I just have to keep my eyes closed, like roll over and keep my eyes closed and just really focus on going back to sleep. And typically, like, I don't wake up enough and I go back to sleep. But if I, you know, have to go pee, or if I check the time and I look at my phone, even just that, the smallest little thing, just that. Or if like my husband sometimes wakes me up, like if I'm not in a super deep sleep, when he gets up for work, I'll sometimes wake up like to his alarm, or to him just getting up. And then sometimes I'm up for like at least an hour, if not longer. And so it's been so frustrating. Like there's nothing worse than laying there and you like want to go to bed, but then you can't. And then you're like laying there for so long, you're like, well, like, so you just like look at your phone and then it's worse. Or I'm like, I need my sleep. Like pregnant or not, I need my sleep. So I actually will get like anxiety. I'll be laying there and I'll feel anxious. Like I'm going to be exhausted tomorrow and then I'm not going to get anything done. Like, what am I going to do? And I'll like literally be laying there and like making it worse. And then I can't fall asleep because I'm anxious. So it's a super fun spiral. Love it. You wonder too if it's your body like preparing itself for the baby. I do wonder if that's actually true. I mean, it's probably just a coincidence, but you wonder, right? Like, does your body know that like it's gonna have to be up every couple hours? It's very soon, and is it preparing itself? Who knows? On top of that, again, I feel like I'm just complaining. I feel uncomfortable with this, but we're going with it because this is just the video that I'm doing. For brows, I did ABH Dip Brow in dark brown and the Toothpaste Fluff and Hold Wax. I just applied the Hourglass Veil eye primer, and I'm going in with the ABH eyeshadow palette and the MAC Color Excess pencil liner in Commitment Issues. I've been getting like lightning crotch, which I mentioned this in my last video, and then when I was editing it, realized I never explained what that was. It's basically like a sharp pain in your kind of like groin pelvic area. So basically how I describe it is it feels like a knife is jabbing up your vagina. So I'll be like, it's usually when I'm walking, like if I like, sometimes when you like are like take a stride, it like feels, so I don't know if it's like because you're stretching that area that's already stretching, but man, it's super fun. It's actually quite painful. Luckily it's not like a constant pain, it's just like a sharp pain, but it's painful. The pelvic pressure and like even just lower abdominal pressure is getting intense, which is probably because she's dropped. I believe she has definitely dropped, which is good because that's a sign of the end as well. They drop further down. You know, just sometimes like when I'm sitting there or standing there or walking, it just feels like painful and like pressure. Walking has definitely become more difficult. Like I can't go for long walks at all. We went to a little carnival recently. We took my son and it was like it wasn't that big of a parking lot that they did it in. But even just walking around there, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's like exhausting and painful. And I do feel like partly why walking is uncomfortable is because like now that she's lower, she's pushing up against my bladder a lot more. And so I feel like I almost experience this like pain. It feels like my bladder is going to explode. She also kicks my bladder. And it's funny because I don't remember, I mean, I'm sure I had pressure on my bladder, but I don't really remember ever having this like sensation of like she's kicking my bladder. So another thing that I also have noticed in the last like 4 weeks is that I stopped gaining weight, which I don't remember with my son. I haven't gained any weight in the last like 4 weeks. Which I mean, I'm not complaining about. I think a big part of it is that I'm much more active this pregnancy. I'm constantly going. I don't really have a lot of days at all where I just sit and don't do anything. So I think that that's a big part of it. So I've only gained this whole entire pregnancy 28.5 pounds, which is awesome because my last pregnancy I gained 45 pounds. I have had some Braxton Hicks as well, which if you don't know what those are, it's basically like fake contractions. It's honestly not typically very painful. It just feels like your abdomen is tightening. At least that's how mine have felt. I also experience a little bit of cramping. I've been getting some like cramping in the last like week. I've honestly had a bit of cramping the majority of this 3rd trimester. But like, it was more like I'm getting it more frequently now. So I definitely think that's because, you know, things are starting to progress. Things are coming along. I've also in the last like couple days, this might be TMI, but I had like digestive cramps. Like it's like not just like kind of period like cramps, but kind of like more digestive system kind of. Nothing crazy, but I think that that's also a sign. I do know also like diarrhea can be a sign of like labor coming on. Not that I'm experiencing that. Like you can tell your body is just going through it in there. This is a little bit TMI, so I do apologize. We're talking about pregnancy here, so I'm gonna just share it with you. I also did lose a little bit of my mucus plug. If you don't know what that is, it's like something that keeps the cervix closed. Like it's there to kind of plug the cervix during pregnancy, and when that's starting to open up and like things are moving along, you lose your mucus plug. And I know not everybody experiences it, so you maybe have had a child and didn't ever notice this, and that's normal, but you can it's like you lose it, and typically when you wipe or in your underwear you'll see this like thicker mucousy discharge. It can be a little bit tinged with blood or whatever. Anyways, yeah, we'll just leave that at that. But I did lose a little bit of that. And then I also, at my last OB appointment, my last 2 OB appointments, so at my 38 and 39 week, I had not dilated at all yet, and my cervix had not effaced yet, which means like your cervix thins out when you're nearing labor, and I haven't yet. So I have a feeling I probably won't be going early, probably closer to my due date. Hopefully not late though. That's basically it. I mean, we're pretty much ready to roll at this point. I'm just waiting for it to happen. Part of me is like, okay, I want it to come like right this second. I'm over this, I'm done. And then part of me is like, you know what, I'm almost to my due date, and I have clients booked up until my due date, or like on my due date. So I almost hope I go on the 30th. I have my diaper bag packed. For her, I packed, you know, some clothes for her, some going home outfits. I packed clothes in sizes newborn and 0 to 3, because you never know like how big the baby's gonna be, and every baby's different. Hudson, I remember he came out and he was a pretty big baby, being like 8 pounds, 13 ounces. So I remember thinking that he was going to not fit the newborn. He still did. So she probably will end up in newborn. I still have to pack my hospital bag, which I feel like I'm going to probably do today or tomorrow, because I'm like, I don't really want to be packing a bag in labor. And I know I'm not going to really want my husband to, you know. And then like my husband's like, well, don't pack everything, because we can just like, we're only 15-20 minutes from the hospital. Like I can come home and get you what you need. And I'm like, yeah, but like, I don't want to do that. I want to have it all there. I will share, actually, you know what? I'm going to share in the description box below my list I've written. I really found it helpful to look at other people's lists. I feel like you just think that you're forgetting something, and there were quite a few lists I looked at that I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. So it's nice to kind of have somebody else's list to look at. So if you are pregnant or even just curious as to what people bring to the hospital, I'll put my list down in the description box below for you guys to take a look at. So for the lips, I just used the MAC Love Me Liquid Lipstick in the shade Been There Plum That. This is the finished look. Yeah, that's the gist of what's been going on. I'm very excited to obviously have the baby, meet the baby, and just be done this pregnancy. So as I said, I will be doing an update after the baby. I have pre-recorded multiple videos because I don't know how obviously everything is going to go and how up to like recording I'm going to be. You might not hear from me, you know, after the baby, aside from just my pre-recorded videos for a couple months, but depending on how that goes, I will update you within a couple of months for sure. Share with you the labor story and experience and how that all goes. So if you're interested in finding out more about my pregnancy and meeting the baby, then stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. Give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.